Hey guys, so I actually got done watching the movie Malignant. Yeah, I kind of went into this. I was kind of planning on watching it really anyways. 'Cause I saw the first trailer in theaters, and what caught my eye was when she was like lying in the bed and we get the effects of like dissolving um the environment dissolving around her, and I thought that was just so beautiful that I was like, you know what, I'm gonna watch this. And then I had to find some time to watch it, and so heard I heard things about it. No spoiler, thankfully, but I heard that it was batshit insane, and I must say it was pretty batshit. But yeah, I was gonna watch this anyways, and the more I heard about it, the more I wanted to watch it. But it's hard to explain this movie without getting to spoilers. But I'll just kind of just give just my thoughts on the movie. The plot. I actually heard someone say that they were able to predict the plot because of a Tales from the Crypt episode that they saw. But honestly, I was more thinking of like there were a few X-Files episodes I was thinking of as I was watching this movie. And for the most part, I was able to predict what was going to happen. Just kind of give a brief synopsis. I'm going to try not to spoil it. Hopefully I don't, but it's kind of hard to explain it without, like I said, getting to spoilers. So there's this girl or a woman. She's in an abusive relationship at the beginning of the movie. And he becomes abusive to her, and later that night, something kills him, and but she ends up surviving, and so the police come and do everything, and they're not sure what happened. Then later on, someone else ends up dying. And this time, the girl actually experiences this event. She is actually able to see. She's like transported to the place, and she's able to see the killer killing this person, but she can't do anything about it. She's paralyzed. And so this keeps happening, and they're having to try to figure out what's going on, and they realize that it's connected to this woman, and she has to try to find out what happened in her past that is causing these events, because she cannot remember past a certain point in her childhood before she came to live with the her parent or adopted parents, because she ended up being revealed to be adopted. And so that's kind of a brief synopsis without getting to too many spoilers. The thing that I really did enjoy about this movie was the more emotional moments, because there were emotional moments, even with all the insane things that happened. We get this kind of connection between the woman and her adoptive sister. The woman talks about how, I say woman, her name's Maddie. I'm just gonna say Maddie. Maddie talks about how she's always wanted a blood connection with somebody. She wants to know what having this blood connection with someone feels like. And that's when it's revealed to her adopted sister, Sydney, that she's adopted. And so later on in the movie, Maddie has to save her sister. And that's when Maddie has this realization that Sydney is her sister. It doesn't matter if they're not connected, but, if they're not blood related, she's her sister. And then, they do go through hell and back to protect each other, so you really do get that sense. And I did really enjoy that aspect of it. This familiar connection and willing to protect your sibling no matter what. We also get there's a character, his name's Gabriel. I don't think it's spoiling by saying he's the killer. But yeah, I just, there's really a lot of emotional moments that I did enjoy in the movie that really made me connect with the characters and made it resonate with me. The effects, there's especially with the, with the killer, his name's Gabriel. And just the way he moves is so damn creepy, but also incredibly impressive. And I'm just dying to know how they were able to do that. And so it's the way that he moves, it's just so unnatural. So it will look like he'll be walking forward, but he's actually walking backwards. And his arms are always they're always pointed in the wrong way. It's hard to explain, but it was so creepy the way that they moved, and it just added to the creepiness of the movie. And it also added an interesting element to the killer. He's not just normal killer. He kind of has this creepy aspect to him. This creepy, personality. And so that's one of the things I loved about this movie. And of course, it's a James Wan movie, if you don't already know that. So there are a lot of things that you recognized that are distinct in his directing style, especially when we're in the house. There's a lot of panning shots throughout the house. There are a lot of just, shots of rooms, kind of giving a lot of atmosphere, and you're just waiting. You're looking all around to see if there's anybody going to pop up. And so definitely, I loved Insidious. That's one of my favorite movies. But I think I enjoyed this a lot more than Insidious. So I think this is it's going to be one of my favorite James Wan movies. Soundtrack, they did use the song Where's My Mind. I recognize the song, but I recognize it from Criminal Minds. There's that episode, I think it was the arsonist who, burned houses down with people in it, and that song would play. And that's what I always remember it from, and then when I heard it in here, I recognized it. So it gave it kind of a haunting feeling. And there's also the soundtrack is very metal, I guess, but of course don't quote me on that because I don't know shit about metal. But it's just what came to mind when I heard the soundtrack. And I did enjoy the characters. They're all pretty good actors. The main focus, of course, was Maddie and Sydney and the killer, and but I did enjoy all the characters. There wasn't any that I just wanted explicitly to die, which is always good for me, to be honest. So yeah, that was just a quick review of just my general thoughts on the movie. So I'm gonna, I guess, get into spoilers now. So I do recommend you watch this movie because it's just such a fun movie. But if you don't want to watch it or you don't care about spoilers, then you can just keep watching. So it's revealed that Gabriel is actually the parasitic twin of Maddie, and they were essentially separated because Gabriel was pretty much feeding off of her name was Emily before she was renamed Maddie, but he was feeding off of Emily and trying to prompt her to kill. And when he finally does end up killing people, they decide that they're going to, in their words, cut out the cancer. And so they separate him from Emily. But because they're connected through the brain, if they try to cut out, his brain from hers, they could either kill her or paralyze her, or cause brain damage. And so they end up just pushing Gabriel's brain back into hers and closing it up. And so she ends up forgetting, and she goes and lives with her adopted family. And I won't say, and it isn't until her abusive husband, slams her against the wall, and the back of her head hits the back of the wall and splits open. I'm assuming splits her skull open, which is allowing Gabriel to come out. That he's fully able to possess her body and use it to go after the people he feels has wronged him. And so it's essentially a Voldemort. it's essentially Voldemort and Sorcerer's Stone. So they'll split open the back of her skull and his face will come out. But I'm not sure if it's just like his brain. It's like his brain with eyeballs, I guess you could say. And her hair is just like parts around his face, and so it looks like he has this like scraggly dark hair. And for some damn reason, he's obsessed with the trench coat and gloves. I guess he thinks he looks dapper in them or something. He literally, after he escapes, goes and finds those clothes and evidence just to put it on. But it was creepy as fuck. And so that's ultimately why it looks so weird whenever he walks, because he's essentially looking out the back of her head, but controlling her body and using her body as if he's, it's his front. And so her back is like right under him. So when he goes forward, it's Maddie walking backwards. And then he'll like switch her arms around, and especially it's really fascinating when they're running and jumping. I'm dying to know how they did those effects. I'll probably try to search out some like behind the scenes to see, because those were so cool. Especially the last 30 minutes, the fight scene in the police station was so damn impressive. Like I said, once again, there's like an emotional aspect, not just with Maddie and her sister, but also with like Gabriel. I kind of got the sense that he blamed pretty much his mother and his sister for turning him into a monster, I guess. He did talk about how, I think at the beginning, there was something that he said, I can't remember what it was, but I kind of got the sense that he blamed his sister and his mother for abandoning him or treating him like a monster. His mother, it turns out she's actually alive, and she was 15 when she had him and Emily. She was actually raped, and so she was really young when she had him and had been through this traumatic experience. But it is kind of obvious she did care for them, but she just didn't know how to take care of them. So she gives them to this medical institution. Later on in the movie, like at the end, she's like talking to Gabriel and talking about how, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have given you up. I should have loved you no matter what. And you would think, you're wondering if, is she actually saying this just because to stop him? And I do think she actually meant it, because we see they're videotaping her and she's talking about when she gives him up, and you see her crying. And so I do think that she ultimately cared for them. She just didn't know how to take care of them, especially like Gabriel. And so it was kind of sad, to be honest. Surprisingly touching, considering that it's literally this parasitic twin on the back of Emily's neck. So, yeah, and there's kind of there's some more like antagonistic relationship between Emily and Gabriel, because he keeps trying to get her to do these horrible things. So he tries to get her to kill, and she calls him the devil. That was something else I was wondering. You know, she kept calling him the devil, and you're wondering if that's kind of also what prompted Gabriel to do the things he did, because he felt like, you know, he felt abandoned by, you know, Emily, and felt like she resented him and stuff like that. Because he also, when they're in the interview, she's being interrogated, and he calls them on the phone, and she's like, tell them what you used to call me, and she's like, the devil. So I'm wondering if that is another sort of point between them that made him hate her and want to take away the people who she cares for, because he does make it a point to save his mother, and also Sydney, her adopted sister, for last, because he felt like, you know, they're the ones who wronged him the most. They're the ones he wanted to really hurt. But yeah, a lot of more like this was a lot, you know, a lot deeper movie than it first appears. So I had a lot of thoughts while watching this movie. I've only seen it once. I trying to get my mom to go watch it with me. She knows I'm a horror person. And she's not particularly enjoy horror movies, but I do think she kind of comes with me when I want to see horror movies, just to spend time with me. And so I'm trying to get her to come see this with me. I think it's such a fun movie to watch with her. I think the last one we went to see was like, what was it? Not hide and seek. God, what was it? I don't know I don't remember what the name was. You know, the one with the having to, you know, the chick got married and then she gets hunted by the family, because it's like traditions. I don't remember what the name's called. But yeah, that was the last movie we went to see with her. I took my brother as well. I definitely know he would enjoy this movie, that's for sure. I'll probably I might do a reaction to it, just because it's on HBO Max, and I might see a few things in the movie that I forgot about, but yeah, my thoughts overall, it's such a fun movie. People said that it was campy and that it was like humorous. I didn't really get that, other than like the concept and like the premise. It took itself very seriously, I would say, and there was a lot more emotional moments than I thought there would be, given like the premise and everything like that. So I felt it was just more a ridiculous, a ridiculous premise, but you know, they took it seriously and gave it some emotion. So. And I know critics are bitching about it. So many are like, they're acting like it's not. I think one of them said it was like dry or something like that. I don't know what the fuck they're on. Seriously. But considering how so many of these critics give like MCU movies that are just so mediocre, like 90% and all this, and then anything different and unique, they did the same thing with the Green Knight. I noticed. They just don't seem to fucking care about like anything unique and interesting, different. It's just, you know, if it's mediocre, then it's better. Because I also noticed they did this with Jungle Cruise and stuff like that. So I've learned not to trust critics at all. So, but yeah, those are my thoughts on Malignant. So if you did like this video, give it a like, subscribe to get notification about all the videos I'll be doing. You guys have a nice night, stay safe out there, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.